If you're looking to become the #1 trusted expert in your industry, the type of person that has access to all the big names, to all the investors, to the best talent in the industry, and the type of person that has a supporting community built around you, then in this video, I'm going to be giving you a 5-step formula that you can follow and implement today to become one step closer to becoming the #1 trusted expert in your industry. What I'm going to be sharing with you is based on my personal experience having built thought leadership in a way that has allowed me to build Unfungible into a business that has generated close to $4 million since 2022, as well as the experience that I've gained working with some of the largest teams in the industry, many of whom you are probably familiar of names including Magic Eden, Brave Browser, Animoca Brands, Abstract Chain, Jupiter, and many others. And it all starts with step #1, which is to become the type of person that has the ability to articulate the problems that your ideal customers face better than they ever can. I have a great story to illustrate this point that you're gonna love. So earlier this year, I had crippling pain in this part of my bicep. Any movement that was bicep curl, back, lifting groceries, anything that had to do with my bicep was absolutely killing me. And it was incredibly demotivating because I couldn't train properly. I didn't know what was happening to me. I couldn't find proper answers on the internet. So then I would find myself resting my arms for weeks, and then I would feel better. And then I would go back to training and the pain would come back. So I would have to extend my rest time, and then I would come back and the pain would come back. I remember one day I was at the gym on a high table. I had my arms stretched out like this and I was like deep into it, stretching that area. And there was this gym trainer that walks through the floor and she sees me. She looks at me and she tells me, "Oh, you have tennis elbow." I look at her, I'm like, "What do you mean tennis elbow?" She's like, "You got tennis elbow. You're massaging the exact area of the tennis elbow." I was like, it's called tennis elbow?" She was like, "Yeah." Are you in pain whenever you do that movement specifically?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm 100% in pain when I do this." She's like, "Yeah, you got tennis elbow. And this is actually pretty common with boxers and a lot of people that do a lot of heavy weights." I look at her and for the first time in my life, I feel a sense of relief. Like, oh my God, this is like not an uncurable curse that I have. So I look at her and I ask her, "How does one resolve this?" So in a couple minutes, she gives me a couple exercises and then she tells me, she's like, "Listen, Leon, I'm doing a couple free 30-minute onboarding sessions for members. If you want, I'm more than happy to do a session with you." I end up doing the session with her and I end up paying $250 for consecutive sessions to get this finally resolved. And the reason I share this story with you is what ended up happening in that one moment. In less than 60 seconds, that trainer was able to position herself as a trusted expert because she was able to articulate a pain point that I had that I didn't know how to speak and articulate properly. She was able to articulate it better than I ever could. And by doing so, she was able to become the first person to win my business. And here's the lesson. The truth is, people are constantly in pain. There's always something in people's lives, whether physical pain, emotional pain, financial pain. People are trying to achieve a certain goal. No matter what brand you have, no matter what business you are building, you are probably trying to solve a problem in the marketplace. And for there to be a problem, there is pain associated with this problem in your target audience. If you become the type of person that has the ability to articulate people's pains, they're going to be the first to come to you. That's, for example, in the context of my marketing. This is something that I often try to do in the website that I have, in the landing page, whenever people inquire to work with us. It's like we show people that we understand the pain points that they have. The very premise of me creating the founder funnel was because of real life testimonials of people telling me, "Leon, we are stuck paying influencers, and without paying influencers, we are irrelevant. And now we're stuck in that forever pay to play cycle and we're going bankrupt in the process." So now I have the ability to tell people, I'm like, "Hey, is this you? Does this sound like you?" Well, guess what? There's a solution and it's called the founder funnel. So my assignment to you is you want to become the type of person that understands your space like no one else. And by consequence, have the ability to understand the problems that your potential customers face better than everyone else. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna reverse engineer all your marketing, everything that you have, from the content that you make, the videos you produce, your website landing page, the call to action that you have, and even your products. You're going to reverse engineer everything to speak and solve that very specific problem. And on that point, by simply speaking people's problems better than they can, you're gonna instantly become seen as an instant trusted expert in your space. And this brings us to step number 2 of becoming the trusted expert in your industry, which is you want to craft your origin story. The trust formula is actually rooted in psychology. This is something that has been mastered by Hollywood screenwriters. Their number one goal in the very first stage of any movie is they want you to build trust and likability with the characters. Because if you don't like the characters that you're watching, you're not gonna watch the entire movie. You're not gonna sit through a movie if you don't like the character. Trust is simply when competence meets relatability. When you see someone as competent plus relatable, you instantly become more trustworthy. And the origin story is the simplest way to build relatability. So in the equation, we have competence and relatability. Competence, we already spoke about this one. So relatability, how do you build relatability? Relatability is easily built through your origin story without it jeopardizing your credentials. Your origin story is nothing but your story that led you to be to the point where you are today. Think of your favorite in real life hero, for example, whether it be Cristiano Ronaldo, who grew up in the poor streets of Madeira and had this childhood stripped away from him to become a champion, to Messi, who, for example, had growth problems growing up. These are the origin stories that make you stand out. No one likes a flawless hero. If Batman woke up in a rich family and then one day decided that he wanted to hunt for evil, it wouldn't make sense. You need an origin story. You need certain events that lead to the actual hero becoming who he has become. Every origin story has a 3-step formula, which is it starts with conflict, which leads to injustice, that leads the hero to go on a selfless journey. And once you have your origin story, you're going to keep repeating it on every podcast appearance that you're going to have, on your website, on your marketing material, in the content that you have, because this is what is going to make you trusted. One of the brands that I often look at as the perfect example of strong founders and story-led brands is Midday Squares, a company from Montreal, the city that I studied in. And what the origin story of Midday Squares is the wife, Leslie, wanted to support her husband, Nick, in having a healthier lifestyle. So she tried to find healthy snacks for him, but she couldn't find anything. So what she ended up doing is she ended up creating her own recipe at home using real ingredients without any added and processed stuff. And Nick turned out to love it. And one day he looked at Leslie, he was like, this is so good. We have to turn this into a brand and make this available to everyone. So today, the slogan of Midday Squares is if you want a guilt-free snack, go to Midday Squares. So it started with a conflict, the husband, Nick, trying to get into better shape. The injustice is that there wasn't anything available on the market. And then the selfless act is now we wanted to make Midday Squares available to everyone so we can spread a healthier lifestyle. And here's the thing, you might be listening to this and you're like, Leon, I don't have this origin story. This is not like a Hollywood movie that I've lived. No, there's a series of events that led to you being where you are today. You didn't wake up one day and you were like, you know what? I want to choose the most difficult career that exists, entrepreneurship, in the most difficult industry to exist, crypto. You didn't just wake up one day and this happened to you. There had to be a certain thought process. There had to be a sequence of actions. There had to be something that happened at some point in your life that led you to want to become an entrepreneur or a marketer or to build in an industry like crypto. What is that story? You have the story. Trust me, you have it. All you need to do is to have the conscious effort of excavating it. Because this is the first time you're probably hearing this concept. It's the first time someone is probably even asking you about what is your origin story. These are not things that we're taught. So my strong invitation to you is dig deep and excavate your origin story. And this right here brings us to step number 3, which is actually a strategy that the top experts in the world are all using that you can start implementing right now, which is to create frameworks that simplify complex topics. If you were to think of every expert in the world, one of the things that they were able to create is a signature framework that is unique to them, that people all of a sudden start quoting them for it. I'll give you an example. So I have this book on my table right here by Joseph Campbell. This is an old book from the 1950s, The Hero with 1,000 Faces. What this book introduced to the marketplace is the concept of the hero journey. Today, the hero journey is quoted and used in every single Hollywood production, Hollywood screenwriters, and even business books. What the author did is he simplified a very complex subject, which is the 12-step journey that every hero has to travel for a good story to be created. He simplified it into the hero journey. So now all you need to say is the hero journey. Another book example that I have for you is Donald Miller, Building a Story Brand. You've probably heard me speak about this book before. Again, the story brand. It's a complex framework of how brands should speak and market to their customers. Now it's called the story brand. Alex Hormozy's money model. The money model is nothing but, again, a complex sequence of things you need to do in your business. Money models. Unfungibles founder funnel. Same thing. So there are two things that happen when you're able to create a framework. Number one, you become known as the inventor of the framework. So people will start attributing credit to you whenever they are quoting or talking about the framework. So when I'm with my friends, I'm like, hey, have you guys heard of the Donald Miller story brand? There's this really good book, you guys should read it, or I would send them videos. So I started attributing the framework to the author, which is great marketing and branding for you. And number two, it instantly improves your perceived authority. Because there's something that happens in people's brain when you see someone that has the ability to explain something that usually is explained in a couple sentences, you break it down into a couple words or even letters, all of a sudden something happens in your brain where you instantly attribute expertise to that person. So the action steps for you right here is look at what are certain complicated concepts in your industry? What are some complicated themes, discussions, things that usually we take a long conversation or even a couple sentences to explain? How can you create a framework around it? So that is step number 3, which is to create frameworks to simplify complex subjects. And this brings us to step number 4, which is at this stage, you're going to start publishing long form content. We have spoken about the first 3 things that make you a trusted expert. Now we have to find a way to package all of this and provide it to our target audience. And the way we're going to do this is through long form content. There's a few reasons why I personally love long form content. Number 1, when creating long form content, you're going to have the ability to clip it or repackage it into smaller pieces of content. The way marketing works is there's a famous study by Google that says that it takes on average 7 hours of consumption for a customer to feel confident in buying into a product. And it's incredibly hard to get these 7 hours of 30-second short videos, of one-liner posts. So the way we use short form and long form content is that short form content introduces people to your world. Long form content gets people to really know who you are, what you stand for, and what is it that you even do in the first place. So the two work together. The problem is that most people are just doing short form content, so they stay stuck in that top of funnel, and they don't have anything deeper in their ecosystem that people would want to learn more, explore, because there's always going to be a small percentage of your audience that is going to be willing to watch your hour-long podcast, that is going to be willing to watch your 3-hour-long lecture or video or read your long article. So by doing long-form content, you all of a sudden are going to have the ability, these snippets, whether be it video or content, written content if you're writing articles, you're going to be able to turn those into smaller snippets. The second reason why I love long-form content is when creating a long-form piece of content, you need to put a sequence of ideas together that makes sense. Just me preparing for this video, it took me hours to organize my thoughts and to really think like, okay, based on what I know, what does it take to become a trusted expert in the industry? I had to look at the different partners that we've worked with. I've had to look at my experience. I've had to create multiple drafts of the ideas that I was going to bring up today. So by doing so, I was able to come up with original thoughts because I had to think of my material. The problem with only going with short form content is you're only thinking and creating thoughts that are quick snippets. And to be honest, there's only so much depth you can go into when creating these really short form pieces of content. So by going long form, be it again, video or article, you have the ability to really think through your problems. You really think through your industry. You really think through what are the problems that my audience is facing and how do I really solve it? So it even becomes a time for you to become better at what you do. So my challenge to you and the action step that I have for you in this stage is to commit to 2 long form pieces of content per week. It could be only written content, so 2 articles per week. It could be 1 article, 1 video. It could be just videos. But I want you to commit to writing pieces of content that are long form, that are complex ideas. Because especially in crypto, because you're probably a founder or a marketer that is building or working in crypto, no one is doing long form. It's the easiest way to stand out. And when people see someone write a long form piece of content, it screams authority. It screams, even if you have no idea what you're talking about, just the perception of someone that is producing long form content, it screams authority. This has been a huge catalyst in my personal success with Unfungible in crypto. So implement this 2 long form per week. And this brings us to step number 5, which is you're going to start collecting transformations and testimonials that you're going to start publishing regularly. This is when we're going to start using social proof. We're going to start using social proof to show the world that we have something special going on. And when it comes to testimonials and social proof, I don't just want you to think of, a simple thing people think about when it comes to transformation is the before and after of someone being obese and overweight to someone having abs and being shredded. A testimonial or a transformation is not as complex as this. If you have a trading tool, it can be as simple as someone messaging you being like, yo, your platform is impeccable. Your UI is amazing. That video you made is incredible. That new article that you published is spectacular. These are all testimonial pieces of content. And what you want to get good at is you want to screenshot those and you want to publish those regularly. So be it comments on your product, about your team, about the experience, about the customer service that you have, about the art that you have, whatever you're selling. There are people that are commenting positive things about what you are doing. What you want to do is you want to make sure this gets as much visibility as possible. It's Alex Hermosi who has this story where he would take all the Google reviews that he has, which usually stay on Google. He would print each one, and in his gym office where he would do the consultations, he would have a wall full of testimonials, 5-star testimonials, just full of it. All he did here is he would surface something that didn't get much visibility. He would give it a lot of visibility. And that's what I want you to do, because you can spend all day telling people that you are the #1 expert in your industry, but nothing shows and convinces people that you are an expert when other people are calling you the expert. So that's what we want. That's what we want to do. And the way we're going to do this is by collecting the social proof and regularly publishing it on your socials. So these are the 5 steps to becoming the trusted expert in your niche. Number 1, become the person who can explain people's problems better than they ever could. Number 2, build your hero origin story. Step number 3, you want to create frameworks that simplify the complex. Number 4, you're going to publish 2 long form pieces of content every single week, no exceptions. And then step number 5, you're going to start collecting social proof, testimonials, and transformations, and you're going to publish them regularly. If you want to learn more specific tactics that you can implement today about becoming an expert, things like creating your contrarian narrative, things like identifying an enemy in the marketplace, and things like positioning yourself next to other experts in your space, I made an entire video showing you exact tactics and strategies that will help you get you one step closer to become an expert. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Leon Aboud, and I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.